Hi everyone, I'm Anna, your cinephile host. Today we will take a look at the movie The Upside, the English language remake of the French film The Intouchables. The storyline is also somewhat similar to that of the movie Me Before You that we've seen before. Only this time, the movie is based on a true story and the ending is more positive. The Upside is a story of two very different worlds colliding in the odd coupling, and, no surprise, the result is understanding and friendship. The film has just the right mix of funny, yet with a touch of humanity. So, let's watch the movie The Upside, a beautifully told story about the impact that people can make in each other's lives. Speeding through New York City in a fancy sports car, Del Scott and Philip, who is quadriplegic, are pulled over by the police. Del convinces the officer that he is rushing Philip to the emergency room. Philip plays along, and the two are escorted to the hospital. 6 months earlier, Del is recently released convict who is meeting with his parole officer to try and turn his life around. He must obtain a number of signatures to prove he is looking for a job and hand them in by the next day. He goes around to different workplaces with little to no interest in what they offer other than the signatures.
Do you even want to work here?
I just need a signature.
At last, Del enters a building seeking a janitorial job, but ends up in the penthouse home of Philip, a wealthy quadriplegic. Philip, with his assistant Yvonne, is interviewing candidates for the position of his caregiver. Del breaks in and demands a signature for his parole officer. Intrigued, Philip offers him the job over Yvonne's objections, but Del declines. Del visits his ex-wife Latrice and son Anthony at their run-down apartment, but neither is willing to accept Del back into their lives. Del gives Anthony a storybook for his birthday, except it's a book he stole from Philip before leaving. Del is contacted by Yvonne to come back, as Philip wants to hire Del for the job simply because he was the worst and least qualified candidate. She doesn't trust Del due to his criminal history and is concerned for how Del would handle Philip, but he assures her he can do a good job. Yvonne stipulates that he must show he can handle his responsibilities, and 3 strikes will get him immediately fired.
He was rich as Jay-Z?
No. Richer.
Jeez.
Money doesn't buy you everything.
Del, having no training, is initially discouraged despite guidance from Philip's physical therapist Maggie, and quickly earns 2 strikes. Del leaves to give his first paycheck to Latrice and asks for the stolen book back, but she refuses. Upon his return, Yvonne gives him a 3rd strike for his unexplained absence, but Philip covers for him.
You want to feed your soul? Then listen to its queen. Think about it. Yeah. You better think about what you're trying to do to me. Think. It's amazing, ain't it? It sounds just like her.
Yeah. When I close my eyes, which I needed to, it's uncanny. It's like identity theft.
When Philip explains his strict do not resuscitate order, Del realizes he has lost the will to live, but when he finds Philip struggling to breathe, he refuses to allow him to die. Del takes Philip around the city after smoking a joint to ease Philip's pain. During their walk, Philip tells Del how he became a quadriplegic. His late wife Jenny was suffering from cancer at the time, and so Philip proposed that they go paragliding to take her mind off of things. It was this accident that rendered Philip immobile. Del adjusts to caring for Philip, even modifying his wheelchair, and is introduced to opera and modern art. He creates his own painting, which Philip displays in his house.
You can't be serious.
Well, it may not be your cup of tea or mine.
Or even in the T family.
The important thing is to see and encourage potential. Don't you see potential here?
Del suspects that Yvonne has feelings for Philip, but she informs him that Philip is in an epistolary relationship with a woman named Lily. They have never met or even spoken, corresponding only through letters. With Del's encouragement, Philip leaves Lily a voicemail asking her to call him back whenever she can. Yvonne then goes to Philip to tell him that Lily has called back and would like to set up a dinner date. Del sits with Philip in a restaurant a few days later as they wait for Lily to show up. Philip reveals Carter bought Del's painting for $50,000, which he gives him to start his own business. When Lily arrives, she allows Del to leave, having researched Philip's condition in advance, but gradually becomes agitated and overwhelmed. Hurt, Philip abruptly ends the date and returns home, where he lashes out and fires Del.
You know, that's my past and I will own that. I got no problem with that, but I'm moving forward. What about you, P?
Yeah, I'm moving forward too.
Are you?
Yeah. With this, get out. You're fired.
Time passes. Del buys Latrice and Anthony a new home and starts a business building motorized wheelchairs. One day, Maggie asks Del to help Philip, who has gone through several other caregivers and hasn't communicated with any of them and even driven Yvonne away. Del goes to find Philip and takes him out for a drive, which leads to the encounter with the police and faking a seizure. They flee before the nurses arrive. Del surprises Philip with a paragliding trip and is surprised himself when he is forced to join. Del then brings Philip to meet Yvonne, leaving the two of them to reunite as he returns home to Latrice and Anthony.
You as rich as Jay-Z?
No. Richer.
Jeez.
Money doesn't buy you everything. The important thing is to see and encourage potential. Don't you see potential here?
You know, that's my past and I will own that. I got no problem with that, but I'm moving forward. What about you, P?
Yeah, I'm moving forward too.
Are you?
Yeah. With this, get out. You're fired.
The Upside is a lighthearted, uplifting movie, and it reminds us all that we can be better. Essentially, every character in the movie improved on some level. The story itself is quite deep. It has many societal labels that we are subjected to on a daily basis: race, rich or poor, physically challenged, underserved. But in the end, it was all about the human experience. The Upside teaches us acceptance, encouragement, and love. And unlike the movie Me Before You, we get to see a much happier ending. I'm your host, Anna, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. You can find more on Funday website. Stay tuned.
What you doing?
Guy I work for, he can't move, so I gotta help him get around.
And you make this much.
Yeah, it's a good gig.
Hope you can hang on to it.
Of course I can hang on to it. How's he doing?
He's good. This guy's report card, all A's.
Apple don't fall far from the tree.
You the tree in the story.